The state and Ms. Pierce are asking for the court to establish Mr. Pierce as Hadley's father and to appoint Miss Sarah Pierce and Mr. Doyle Pierce as joint managing conservators of Hadley, with Ms. Pierce having the exclusive right to designate Hadley's primary residence with a geographic restriction to Brazoria County, and a standard possession and access order for Mr. Doyle Pierce. The state would ask the court to reserve the issue of retroactive support for Hadley, arrears, and court costs for final. And lastly, the state and Ms. Pierce would ask the court to modify Mr. Pierce's current child support obligation and order Mr. Pierce to carry the children on both health and dental insurance through his employer, with a health insurance credit of $355 monthly and a dental insurance credit of $37 monthly.
Okay, Ms. Leskowski, okay, you're gonna have to, are you just telling me your agreement and then you're gonna put on evidence?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, please continue.
The state would first would call Ms. Pierce.
You may proceed.
Ms. Pierce, how many children do you and Mr. Pierce have together?
2.
Okay. What are their names?
Blake Daryl Pierce, Hadley Grace Rochelle Pierce.
And do you have a court order for either one of those children?
We do have
For Mr. Pierce
we
to pay
do.
you support?
We do have an order for Blake in our divorce decree.
And when did you get divorced from Mr. Pierce?
I believe it was finalized in February of 17. I believe so. Yeah, February of 17.
And when was Hadley born?
April 6th, 2021.
And at the time that Hadley was born, were you married to anyone?
No.
Okay. Were you, at the time Hadley was born, in the 9-10 months prior to her birth, had you been intimate with anyone other than Mr. Doyle Pierce?
No.
Okay. Is there any possibility someone other than Doyle Pierce could be Hadley's father?
No.
Do you believe it's in Hadley's best interest for Mr. Pierce to have a standard possession and access order?
Yes.
Okay. Are you and Mr. Pierce able to make decisions together about Hadley?
Yes.
You able to communicate together about what Hadley needs?
Yes.
Do you believe it's in her best interest for the court to appoint you and Mr. Pierce as joint managing conservators?
Yes.
All right. And where is Hadley's primary residence now?
With me at the 1009 Mac Drive in Sweeney, Texas.
Okay. And do you believe it's in her best interest to continue to reside with you?
Yes.
How is Hadley insured for health insurance right now?
Through her daddy's company, through Doyle's company.
Is Hadley also in, how is Hadley insured for dental insurance?
Also through her father Doyle's company.
Do you know how much the health insurance costs Mr. Pierce for Hadley and Blake?
I'm not exactly sure what the numbers were. He said them on the phone and I didn't write them down.
Okay.
I want to say it was like maybe 190 for
How
health, 17 for dental, and he gets paid weekly.
Okay. So those are weekly figures?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you know how many people are on those policies?
My two, Doyle, and then his oldest child, that's 19, emancipated, so four.
Okay. And do you know if Mr. Pierce would pay his own premium as the employee if it was just him?
Yes, he would.
Okay. And you mentioned a 19-year-old child of Mr. Pierce's. So beside those three children that we've already mentioned, does Mr. Pierce have any other children under the age of 18?
Not that we're aware of.
You know where Mr. Pierce is currently employed?
Yes, ma'am. JVIC.
Okay. And do you
He
know what
just he just changed jobs.
do you know what he does there?
He is a planner.
Okay. And do you know how much he earns there?
54 an hour.
Hours a week he works?
Um, he's supposed to be guaranteed 40. He's told me for the next couple of years they're going to at least work 5/10s. But I did
What is that?
overtime. Sorry.
What is a 510?
5/10s is 5 days a week, 10 hours a day, so 50 hours a week.
Okay. For those extra 10 hours, do you know if Mr. Pierce would be paid overtime? Or I mean,
Yes,
time and a
ma'am.
half?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Time and a half.
Okay. So besides Mr. Pierce's employment at JVI, does he have any other source of income?
No.
Past the witness?
I'm sorry. Did you ask?
No, I'm
No,
sorry.
I passed the witness.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I was-
done. I don't have any further questions for you at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Pierce, is there anything else you would like to tell me in regards to your case before I make my ruling?
When we had him on the phone, um, this lady helped out and did the numbers a couple of different ways. Of course, he wasn't satisfied with anything. I agreed to take the 10-hour overtime off and go on 40 hours, and I'm good with that.
Okay. Okay. So Ms. Liskowski, I just did some math while y'all were talking. I show that if you do 50 hours a week at $54 an hour, that comes to a monthly gross of $12,870. Is that what you got?
Yes,
Okay. And then
I did it a little bit differently because I did the time and a half, but
I did 40 hours at 54
Right.
and then 10 hours at 81.
yeah, okay, yes, that's exactly what I got then, yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
And so I got that total. And then what I got for medical support is if dad pays 190 weekly for 4 people, then for 2 people, the 2 children, a month, it would be 411.66. Is that what you got?
No, but that is because Mr. Pierce provided some information that it was not evenly divided by 4. It was, I think, $90 for just him.
Okay, well, here's the problem. He's not here to testify.
I know.
So-
So, yes, 400.
Okay. So you're asking for a temporary order today, Ms. Leskowski?
Yes, Judge.
And when do you want to return for final?
February 25th. May at 8:30.
Okay. The court will order temporary orders today. I am going to find, based on the testimony, that Mr. Doyle Darwin Pierce Jr. is the father of Hadley. Her last name will stay Pierce. These are temporary orders. There will be a joint managing conservatorship with Miss Pierce as the primary. I didn't hear anything about geographical restriction. So will that be reserved for final hearing, Ms. Leskowski?
Yes, Judge.
Um, there will be a standard possession order. Medical support will be provided by Mr. Pierce through his employer. Dental support will be provided by Mr. Pierce through his employer. Giving him credit for medical support and dental support and using gross wages of $12,870. What would his child support be, Ms. Leskowski?
So credit for dental or health and dental at 437. Is that right, Judge?
Well, the numbers I got, I'm using the information that was given, which was 190 weekly for medical and 17 weekly for dental. When I put that together for 2 children, medical is $411.66 credit, and dental is $36.83 credit. So giving him credit for those amounts, what is child support?
That is a net resources of $9,243.73, 25% of 9,200, since that's over the cap of the 900 cap. That's $2,300 current child support beginning February 1st, 2025.
The court will order child support based off of gross wages of $12,870. That puts child support at $2,300 a month beginning February 1st of 2025. All other issues, any retro, arrears, court costs, and the geographical restriction are reserved for final hearing on February 25th at 8:30. Ms. Pierce, what I'm going to have you do right now is go back to your breakout room. Ms. Leskowski is going to draft up the temporary order for you right now. She's going to go over it with you, have you sign it, then you'll be excused. We'll come back on February 25th at 8:30 to see if Mr. Pierce appears or not. And we're going to go forward on that day with final order.
Yes, ma'am.
On your screen, there is a button that says breakout room and has 4 squares next to it.
Yes,
If you
ma'am.
don't click that, that'll take you back to your breakout room and Ms. Leskowski will come speak with you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.